All right, so yes, update 8 is going to be absolutely crazy. Yes, I've been playing it on the public test server, which, by the way, right now the public test server is live for Space Marine 2, so you can play the update 8.0 content early, including Siege Mode, DLC cosmetics for SP holders, and much more. And by the way, very big news about a customization update coming up here. Check it out. So they go on to say this: we are preparing a very big update for customization. Players will be able to reuse chapter champion armor parts on other classes with lore accuracy, clipping, and technical restrictions. While it's not going to be in this patch, we wanted to mention this in this patch notes to assure you that we are going to continue expanding our customization system. This is fantastic news. We'll get into more in just a moment. But guess what? We also have, yes, full-blown patch notes as to what to expect for update 8. Now, these are subject to change, but I think overall we will see a lot of this stuff implemented when the final build for update 8 is released later in the month. But yeah, we're going to go over those patch notes in this video. But if you're wanting completely uncut gameplay of me playing through Siege Mode, the brand new Horde mode, check it out on the channel. I'll try to throw in that description down below for you guys to just quickly click on it. But it is absolutely legit, and I do really think that this Horde mode, the Siege mode, will bring back a lot of the player base because it is so freaking crazy once you get into like wave 10 and beyond. But anyway, let's get into those patch notes, okay? So let's dive in. All right, so yes, we have the Siege update, PTS update 1. So there might be further PTS updates. I'll keep you guys in the know if that happens. New PvE mode, of course, Siege mode. They go on to describe it. I think you guys get the idea of what, the Horde mode includes. You're going to be surviving against waves, and then you're going to be earning, those requisition points, and then going to the requisition shop area, essentially, and then calling in reinforcements there. You can also call in dreadnoughts, Cadian troopers, and all sorts of cool stuff. Get ammo boxes, armor, really, really important stuff to survive. There's also boss encounters. So every 5th wave introduces formidable boss battles, occasionally facing multiple elite foes simultaneously. It gets crazy. Triumph in these encounters to progress to new fortress sectors. Yeah, let me see if I can find an example. Okay, so here's an example. You can see how nutty this is going to get here. And we barely made it through this one. As you can see, I'm trying my best to survive against these Carnifexes. And this requires like ultimate synergy and teamwork. You have got to really work together. But anyway, back to the patch notes. We have infinite waves. It says, if your resolve endures through 15 brutal waves, prepare for endless combat of increasing difficulty, reduced resources, and shorter preparation times. Even the Primarch of the Ultramarines understands that ultimate victory here is unlikely, but your bravery will echo through the halls of eternity. And I can't remember exactly what wave we ended on. Was it 17 or something like that? But anyway, you can find out in the big, long video I posted. I think it's like an hour and 15 minutes. So you can see how long a session can last for Siege mode. It is badass. But okay, so we have added option to disable bot spawns in private mode. Perfect if you're looking for a challenge, which was requested. And then we have RTAO experimental feature added, enables in-game video settings, DLSS 4 better upscale for 50XX series cards. And then we have new season pass content, of course, the White Scars chapter champion, weapon skin pack, customization options for the White Scars, and then Blood Angels customization pack as well. Now, gameplay and balancing tweaks where it gets interesting. Extended weapon arsenal in PvE. They added the Thunder Hammer for the Bulwark. Picking this weapon will prevent you from using the Storm Shield. And they go on to say, we are adding this option only because we think it will be very cool, and it's a shame that only one class can use the Thunder Hammer. We are not done with the Bulwark. More interesting gameplay things are to come. And I gotta say, they've said that they're going to do some interesting things there. And I don't want to overhype anything, but it would be really, really cool to finally see a class get like a subclass. Because then that would open up more options if you have like duplicate classes, That's still a thing that does happen still, but it would really help out with matchmaking for sure. All right, moving on here, we have new finishers for Bulwark, adding new finishers for Bulwark with Shield, one for the Hormigons and one for the Zangars, however you say that. Hopefully I said it correctly, but anyway, yeah, so that's really cool, some new finishers there. And then Terminus update for absolute difficulty, A second terminus can now appear during a mission. The terminus's HP has been increased by 66%, and additional enemy packs will appear upon its spawn and again when its HP is reduced to 50%. Now, these additional packs are now slightly more challenging, featuring more extremis enemies, and mission with the final bosses can now also spawn terminus enemies. Previously, missions like decapitation didn't allow any terminus spawns. Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, they do have some dev notes here. This change is made according to the community poll that we made a while ago. We think that absolute difficulty wasn't that hard to begin with, and now a slight power creep of constant weapon buffs, perk buffs, and prestige perks, the situation is much worse. After doing multiple tests, we have scrapped the idea of having two terminus enemies in operations mode at the same time, except in siege mode, because this meant that you would have to encounter them all of the time. Otherwise, one run with dual terminus spawns would be much harder than a run with two terminus enemies spawning one by one. Instead, we've tried to make terminus spawns harder and more intense. We are going to continue to monitor how absolute difficulty is and make necessary tweaks. So overall, how are you guys feeling about this one with absolute difficulty, the changes there? Sound off. Curious your take on that. Now, prestige perks class updates. We have Bulwark prestige perk updates. It says Rally Point, the perk has been reworked. The new perk is Emboldened Stand. So the old version was Chapter Banner additionally removes negative status effects while active, but now the new one says this: when the Chapter Banner is active, all squad members do not lose control upon taking heavy hits and cannot be knocked back within its zone. That's pretty powerful right there. So that sounds pretty legit. So yeah, let me know if you guys like that change or not. But we also have Assault stuff going on here. Assault prestige perks update. Boosted recharge. So the perk has been reworked as well. The new perk is now Unyielding Oath. Now the old version, if you remember, collecting an armor boost restores ability charge by 100%. But here's the update. When charging a ground pound, you become invulnerable for 3 seconds. So that's always nice. That's really good. Kind of curious to see if they have anything for tactical. So we'll see. But for sniper, it says this: sniper prestige perk update, boosted recharge. The perk has been reworked and is now material upgrade. The old version, collecting an armor boost, restores ability charge by 100%. The new version is this: equipment damage radius increases by 15%. Okay, interesting. Then for the heavy, because I know a lot of you guys wanted to see some stuff around the heavy, they go on to say this for prestige update: restorative capacity. The perk has been reworked and is now Hone Precision. The old version, of course, activating Iron Halo removes negative status effects. Pretty tame. Now the new version says this: equipped weapons maximum spread decrease by 25% when firing without aiming. That actually sounds pretty badass. So spray and pray, pretty much right there from not going down sight is going to be more accurate, it seems. Okay, and that's pretty cool. And tactical prestige perks update. Okay, so here we go. Skilled supplier. So fix the bug preventing the player from getting the maximum ammo. Okay, that's just a fix. So nothing major has changed there. All right, so what do we got next for class perk updates? Bulwark perks update says this: perks have been updated to reflect the addition of the Thunder Hammer to Bulwark's arsenal. So forward momentum, the perk has been updated. The old version says after shield bash, melee damage increase by 30% for 10 seconds. But the new version is this: after shield bash or Thunder Hammer, pommel smash, melee damage increases by 30% for 10 seconds. So they're just including, the Thunder Hammer in there. Okay. And then concussive force, the perk has been updated. So yeah, the new version includes a Thunder Hammer now. The pommel smash deals 100% more damage and deals area effect damage within a 7-meter radius. Cooldown is 5 seconds. So you can see how they're really gearing a lot of these updates towards that Thunder Hammer. Now, Merciless Resolve, the perk has been updated. So yeah, the only change here is that they have included the Thunder Hammer pommel smash in the mix here. And then Focus Restoration, the perk has been buffed. Every 40 seconds, all squad members automatically restore 1 armor segment, and that is now cooldown decreased from 40 to 30 seconds. Nice. Tactical perks update. Okay, final shot. The perk has been reworked. The new perk is Emperor's Judgment. Now, the old version is after a finisher, the equipped range weapon reloads automatically. But the new version is after finisher, the re-weapon still reloads automatically, but we have an addition. And your primary weapon deals 20% more damage for 10 seconds. So that is definitely a buff there. Communion of Fire, the perk has also been reworked. The new perk is Secure Stockpile. So what's going on here? It says recoil is reduced by 25% and range damage against extremis level enemies is increased by 10% for all squad members. But the new version is this: equipment charge is restored by 1 for all squad members. Cooldown is 60 seconds. Okay, that's a significant change there. All right, so Steady Aim, the perk has been buffed. Weapon spread and recoil is reduced by 20%, and range damage against terminus level enemies is increased by 10%. Now, range damage bonus increased from 10 to 15%, so there's the buff there. Assault perks have been updated. Winged Fury, the perk has been buffed. Damage from melee attacks executed while sprinting or dashing has been increased 40%. Damage increased from 40 to 100%. That is definitely a buff right there. So Hammer of Wrath says the perk has also been buffed. After a ground pound, you take 15% less range damage. Do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. Now, the change to this: damage reduction increased from 15 to 20%. Knockback immunity duration increased from 10 to 15 seconds right there. So good buff there. Let's talk about the Vanguard. Moving target, the perk has also been buffed. Each melee attack you land reduces the range damage you take by 2%, up to 20%. If you do not land a melee attack for 5 seconds, the effect ends. But here's the buff: consecutive hit multiplier increased from 2 to 5%. Max bonus increased from 20 to 30% right there. So your Vanguard users should be pretty happy there. Retribution perk has been buffed as well for Vanguard. After you are grabbed or knocked back, you deal 25% more melee damage for 15 seconds, but bonus damage increased from 25 to 30%. Duration increased from 15 to 20 seconds there. Sniper perks update. So we got some buffs here. Weapon spread is reduced by 25%, and range damage against extremis level enemies is increased by 10% for all squad members. Range damage increased from 10 to 15% right there for precision targeting. Dexterous Hands, Instigator Bolt Carbine is now also effective. Bolt Carbines reload 20% faster, and their weapon spread and recoil are reduced by 15%. So a good reason to use those Bolt Carbines and give those a shot right there for the Sniper. Now, weapon perk updates. Inferno Pistol perk update. Let's talk about it. So, no fear, the perk has been reworked because this desperately needed attention. Old, when your health is below 10%, reload speed increases by 30%, but the new version is if your armor is fully depleted, reload speed increases by 20%. Okay. It's interesting. Yeah, a lot of people wanted, they actually listened. You know, there's a lot of complaints when it was about health. Now it's more about armor. Okay, cool. Neo Volkite Pistol perk update. Combustive Momentum, the perk has been buffed. After gun strike, heating speed increases by 30% for 6 seconds. Duration increased from 2 to 6 seconds. All right, so what do you guys think of the changes there? How are you guys feeling about the buffs? Any more buffs you think need to be done? Sound off by all means. But we also have some combat quality of life stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. So we have, if a sniper type enemy aims at you, using Assault's jump pack ability will allow you to dodge the shot. The sniper will shoot instantly, but the shot will miss. Yeah, okay, that sounds pretty cool. And then we have fixed an issue where Neurothrope's Warp Storm Afterblast could stun lock the player with heavy hits. Now Afterblast will damage the player but not control them. Additionally, Neurothrope's shots now have a slightly longer delay between them. Love this change big time. I absolutely hate any type of stun lock stuff, so that's great. Fixed a lot of minor issues, improving overall combat responsiveness. This right here is a big win. Firearms, PvE only. There are not many weapon balance tweaks in this patch because our statistics show that usage and win rate, for all weapons is in a good spot right now. With the next big update, we're going to focus on weapon versions balance inside each archetype because this is where we see a big room for improvement. So expect some more updates there. Very curious to see what they do there. Now, for the bolt pistol, they did do some adjustments. Hip fire spread decreased by 50%. Velocity of spread increasing in mini zoom state is decreased by 15%. Inferno pistol also saw gun strike damage increased by 20%. So a good buff there. For PvP, They said that with the next patch, we're going to take a closer look at PvP weapon balancing, large amount of small fixes and level geometry collision, lots of minor fixes for private lobbies, gameplay modifiers, and then AI. Spore mines, explosion damage is reduced by 55%. Good. Can't stand these things. Neurothrope, temporary invulnerability is replaced with the high damage resistance when it flies up from the ground, and lots of minor animation fixes for various enemies. And customization, and check this out, I had to reread this. So we are preparing a very big update for customization. Players will be able to reuse chapter champion armor parts on other classes with more accuracy clipping and technical restrictions. While it's not going to be in this patch, we wanted to mention this in this patch notes to assure that we are going to continue expanding our customization system. Damn, that is huge news right there. Like one of the most highly requested things from you guys. So I cannot wait to learn more about how that's going to work. All right, so we have some details. So added red, white, and blue weapon skins as siege mode rewards. Added prestige rewards shoulder pad on left shoulder as well. Added left pauldron decal, ultramarine sergeant, and lots of other minor fixes for customization of armor parts and emblems. I love that they're going still all in on the customization. That is freaking sweet. Now there's also some level stuff going on here. Large amount of small fixes in geometry, and then general fixes as well, where, you know, spore mines could spawn on top of the player. They fixed that. Combining Sniper's Prestige perk, Emperor's Grace, with Lingering Concealment. Perk drains ability charge while Linger is active, so they also fixed that one right there. They also addressed an issue where the Bulwark perk's Intimidating Aura was not triggering with the perfect block. Intimidating Aura is probably the most overpowered perk right now, but we think that it should still work independently from selected weapon. Okay. And then they have a bunch of other stuff. You guys can pause the screen here if you want to read it for yourself, or read the patch notes for yourself. I'll include that in the description down below. Tech fixes, you know, PvE quick match, returning the battle barge from a PvE mission quick match makes the game switch to offline. So they have fixed that performance. Horde mode, FPS drops may occur. So some notes here that they're looking into. Okay, so yeah, remember this is the PTS. It's kind of like work in progress in some areas, but so far it's like really good so far, I have to say. But I've been enjoying the hell out of it overall. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the buffs and the changes for sure. And now it is time to go over your top comments. So be sure to leave a comment down below. It could end up in a future video. So let's do this. All right, so we have this comment right here. I don't know how to feel about the reinforcements only sticking around for a certain amount of time. The Dreadnought, I understand, is probably slightly OP. And maybe the chapter needs him elsewhere after a while, but if I call in some guardsmen and they decide to leave after a few minutes, I'm declaring all of them cowards and we'll have a word with their commissar. Yeah, you know, I was trying to pay attention when I was playing it, and I still think, like, when it comes to the Dreadnought, you should see its armor, and it's like health pool, I guess you would say, and then once it's to zero, you know, it just dies, essentially. That's how I think it should work. And you could try to guard it and, you know, make it survive as long as possible. That's how I would prefer it to work, instead of it being like on a timer. It's just weird. So I think that that should be adjusted. All right. Next up, we have, I think, to call the Dreadnought, you have to place 1,500 points, and then the Dreadnought spawns in. You take the amount of points together as a team. That's 100% correct. Honestly, I was like kind of a little confused with how that system worked until I finally got into the game and played it for myself. And then you just bank the points, so you could. It's a total of 1,500 points, like you said. And then if you have, like, let's say you have 350 points or whatever, you can decide to bank in 250 at a time. Your team can do the same until you work to that 1,500. And I highly recommend, by the way, to really save the Dreadnought till the last moment, as long as possible. One of our biggest mistakes is that we called the Dreadnought in too soon here. Now it says they absolutely have to add an option to play only Nids, only Chaos, or Mixed. There's no way they force you to fight Chaos for the Horde mode, and I do enjoy Chaos enemies, but having to hold out against infinite waves of Nids is literally the Warhammer 40k fantasy. We already made them change their minds with the coherency thing. We have to make our voice heard with this as well. This is one of the reasons why they're doing PTS stuff, and I would not be surprised if this was one of those changes. From my experience with playing it, yes, what happens is you do play 5 waves, against the Tyranids, and then you board an elevator, you go to a new area, and then you face off against Chaos for 5 waves, and then there's like a boss, and then back and forth. That's how it currently works, but I imagine that because of the outcry from the community that this might change. I'll let you guys know if that's the case. But thank you guys so much for watching. That does it for the patch notes currently for Update 8, the PTS version, by the way. Things will probably change as we go, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Take care.